Hello and welcome to it being 1 year since the last character was added to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which means we're never going to get another Smash Bros. Character for a while. Honestly, hopefully a good long while. Now that it's been a year with the full complete roster, I'm gonna actually rank them based off of my personal, very biased opinion. I'm not a competitive player, so this is not a competitively viable tier list. This is just who I like to play as and who I don't like. I have my own ranks here. Top tier are my mains, second tier my secondaries, third I play random characters a lot sometimes because I just get really bored and so I want to mix it up. So these are the characters where when I get them in randoms I get excited, but I typically don't go out and seek them out of my way. And then go to but fun as hell, kind of same as getting hyped in randoms, but to a lesser extent. I enjoy playing as them, but again, I wouldn't seek them out myself. Literally forget that they're in the game, just mid-tier. I literally forget they're in the game. I don't seek them out, but I don't hate them. Don't dislike them, but not very fun. I don't always forget they're in the game. Sometimes they're more forgettable, but other times I remember because I just don't like them. Or just don't feel anything towards them, don't enjoy playing as them. Then next tier, I don't like playing as them. And then final tier, Sakurai's biggest mistake. So my absolute least favorite characters. Well, it's actually just gonna be one character, spoilers. But yeah, let's go. And I'm doing this based off of this tier maker that uses their mural, which I really appreciate. And then it's also split up into the characters by their numbers. And I'm going to mostly do it as their numbers in-game, their fighter numbers. So I'm going to rank each of Pokemon Trainer's Pokemon separately, but then also Pokemon Trainer as a whole, put them somewhere, same Paramithra. I don't think Mario's very fun to play as. They gave him a very basic moveset, which is fine. He has very basic moves that you can pull from, but he has more stuff that you can pull from. They used Flood. They could have also used his Spin from Mario Galaxy. They could have incorporated Cappy from Odyssey. They could have added his other power-ups like Boomerang Flower or Tanuki Mario or Cat Mario. There were a lot of other things they could have done that they just didn't do, and so it just leaves me kind of let down. And it's also sort of the Mario effect, where when you're playing a game that's like Mario Kart or Mario Party, you don't typically go to Mario as your character to play unless you just don't really know anything about the Mario series at all. You don't know who all of these characters are, but you know the red guy, so you go to him. It's sort of the Mario effect is in Smash too, because you couldn't have Smash without Mario, but I know there are Mario mains, but I don't trust them. Next, Donkey Kong. I don't like playing as him. I don't like playing as heavies in general. And Donkey Kong also has a very generic moveset. I'm not as familiar with Donkey Kong's games as I am Mario's games, so I don't know what other kind of stuff they could have pulled from, but I feel like they could have pulled from more stuff than just 8-man punch. Link is easily a secondary. I started playing him a lot when Ultimate came out. He wasn't my go-to in previous games, which the games I played most often before Ultimate came out were Brawl and Smash 4, because my first console that I had in my house was a Wii. So I didn't play as him a whole lot because I wasn't really familiar with his games, and I tended to stick to characters that I was more familiar with because I played their games. And the same is kind of now. I'm biased towards characters who I play their games with, but not always, as you can tell from Mario down here. But anyway, Link, I just grew to really like him. I really like his Breath of the Wild design in Smash, so much so that I see his more general green tunic and cap design as an alt, and it looks weird in Ultimate. It doesn't look weird in any of the past games, but in Ultimate it looks weird. I don't know what it is, but I really like him. I really like that they incorporated his Breath of the Wild weapons and moveset. I think that's really cool because they obviously didn't update a whole lot of the original characters from 64, but they updated Link, so that was really fun. And Breath of the Wild is the only Zelda game I have played through to completion, and I love that game, so it just makes me happy. Samus, not a go-to, but pretty fun. Pretty general from my understanding of Metroid. Haven't played any Metroid games yet, but I have Metroid Dread. I'm gonna play it eventually. I just haven't gotten around to it. Dark Samus, I put just a little bit above Samus because she's floatier, so I like her handling better and I like the edgy aesthetic. Kirby is also not a go-to, but pretty fun. The fact that he has the capture mechanic makes every matchup with him very interesting. You can just get a whole new move out of nowhere. He's cute, he's fun, he's floaty. Nothing much more to add to that. Yoshi, I literally forget that he's in the game a lot. I feel like he's just kind of, in general, there are other lightweight characters that I think are more fun. There are other cute characters that I think are more fun. I don't have much to say about him. I don't dislike Fox. Again, I don't have much fun with him. I put him above Mario. I like characters with guns. Pikachu, I also kind of forget Pikachu's in the game. Again, just kind of generic. I do enjoy playing as him more than I do Yoshi. I like Luigi more than Mario. I think it's because he's floatier, a little bit more lightweight. He's got more personality. He's pulls from a bit more references. I like him. I do not like playing as Ness. I do not like playing as Ness. Do I like him playing as more? Yeah, he's more interesting than Donkey Kong at least. When I go against someone who's playing as him, I fear for my life. I played him a couple times in Brawl, and I think that really soured him to me because I was a dumb kid and I didn't understand how his up B worked. And even though now his up B has changed so it's more understandable and there's actual UI telling you where it's going to shoot you so you don't kill yourself, it's still just, I don't like up Bs where you have to work. Captain Falcon, I don't dislike him, but he's not very fun. I don't typically seek him out. Something about him just annoys me. I don't like playing as Jigglypuff. Their up B and their down B are just really hard to master, and so that just gets a little annoying. Can you tell I'm not a competitive player? Because if I just don't understand a moveset, if it's a character that already kind of annoys me, I'm not gonna bother learning it. Also, it's just weird to me how the Smash fandom has just decided that Jigglypuff is a girl. Smash Brothers! Peach is a secondary. Peach was my main in Brawl. I started playing her less when 4 and Ultimate came out because then there were more characters I wanted to play more. In Brawl, I hadn't played a lot of video games in general. My very first video game I ever really owned and played was Super Princess Peach, so I had a huge attachment to her through that game. I like that she still floats around in her dress like she does in Super Mario Bros. 2 USA. Like that apparently her final smash is a reference to Super Princess Peach. If they say so, I can kind of see how they might think that is, but I would have appreciated if they actually did the emotions the way that is laid out in Super Princess Peach, and then like maybe she cycles through the emotions or something. I don't know. It's not that inspired, but I don't know. I like her. Daisy, I've been playing as a lot more than Peach, only because I'd wanted her for so long. I never liked the Daisy ult on Peach because I just thought it looked so awkward. And then I was like, why isn't Daisy there? I do wish that Daisy had a more unique moveset, and then especially if Peach's final smash is a reference to Super Princess Peach, then Daisy should have a different final smash because Daisy wasn't in Super Princess Peach. I just think she's got a bit more fun personality in Smash, and I've just wanted her in Smash for so long that I just sort of play as her out of fun. I know I said I didn't like heavies. I like Bowser, but I think he's fun. I think he's got some fun personality. I do wish he had a different final smash. I like Giga Bowser as a final smash in theory, but I don't understand why he just punches you instead of breathing fire at you. Bowser's whole thing is breathing fire, but you know, whatever. I do not like playing as Ice Climbers. I hate that you have to keep track of both of them, and that if one of them dies, because you technically control both of them, but you really only control one of them, so one of them could just fuck off and die, and then that basically leaves you floundering and you're by yourself. Especially if your main one gets killed off and then you just have the AI one left and you're basically dead. I don't like having to keep track of both of them. It's so annoying to me. And then one of them could die and I don't even notice, and then I can't recover and then I die. I don't like dealing with them. I don't like them. I've been playing as Sheik a lot lately. I like how fast she is. Zelda is everything that she should have been from the beginning. because Zelda was not a good character. Sheik was always the better version. But now Zelda is amazing, has the best final smash in the game. I love playing as her. I like this sort of amalgamation of all her designs in one. It makes me wonder why they didn't do that with Link. But I mean, I like Breath of the Wild Link, but then I wonder why they didn't have Breath of the Wild Zelda. Dr. Mario. I want to say I forget he's in the game because I do, but then that would imply I like him more than these guys, and I don't. I mean, he plays the exact same as Mario, but he's not technically an Echo Fighter, so I wonder why isn't he an Echo Fighter? The nerve of Sakurai to make Pichu as good and fun as he is. I think he's the perfect weight. The fact that he self-harms does make it kind of a detriment, but he's lightweight, is very fast. He's got the same moves as Pikachu, except he does self-harm. He's also cuter than Pikachu. I don't know what you want from me. I honestly forget Falco's in the game. Definitely, out of all the Spaceys, I forget about Falco the most. I'm gonna put him right here. I don't know, it's close. It's really just an aesthetic choice between the two of them, and I haven't played the Star Fox game, so I don't have an attachment to either of them specifically that make me want to choose one over the other. So Marth, I get hyped in randoms. This is where you're going to see my bias towards games and franchises that I've played before, because I don't have a problem with the number of Fire Emblem characters in this game, so you're gonna see them all in a similar spot. I love my boy Marth. I feel really passionate about him as a character in general, but I don't play as him very often. He's probably one of my least go-to out of all the sorties. I don't want to say he's the most generic because he was the first one, so he kind of has to be. Yeah, I don't know. He is technically the most generic. I like him. They did a good enough job with him. This is gonna sound weird after me saying I don't really like Marth because he's kind of generic. Lucina is my main. I know Lucina's kind of Marth, but for people who don't want to get good at the game, because her whole sword has the same strength, but with Marth it's just tipper, so she's easier to play. I don't care. I feel really passionate about Marth. I feel even more passionate about Lucina. I love Awakening, and I love her character. I wish she had an alt where she was just wearing her mask the whole time. I'm happy it's at least in a taunt, but I would have loved if she had an alternate costume that was just her in her Marth mask in disguise. I do wish she had a little bit more of an inspired final smash based off her game. I can't complain. Her moveset works with her being an Echo since she was disguised as Marth. And I don't know, I just really like her as a character in general, and I've gotten really good with her, just playing her a bunch. I think I actually started playing as her a bit in Smash 4, and then I just carried over into Ultimate, then playing her a lot more once I really started to get into Fire Emblem, which I didn't really get super into Fire Emblem until after Ultimate came out. Feel nothing towards young Link. I forget he's in the game all the time. He's Link, just smaller, and I feel like he's less powerful. I could be wrong, but I just feel like he is. Ganondorf. He's got a better moveset now that he's way more than just a Captain Falcon clone. I don't know, he's still too heavy for me. His sword doesn't do a whole lot for me. I like his final smash though. I like the Beast Cannon Rush. I like Mewtwo. I like Mewtwo as kind of a floaty character. I like the menacing aura. Roy is Marth, but with fire. That makes him better than Marth. Chrom is Roy and Marth had a baby, but he was strong, so I like him better. And I love Chrom as a character. I really like him. He's just a guy. Fuck, I love Fire Emblem. Fuck. Okay, I got really into Game & Watch lately. So I like Game & Watch aesthetically already because he kind of reminds me of like old black and white silent cartoons, and if my branding is anything to go by, I like that kind of stuff. So one day I just decided I'm gonna play as him a bit, and I really like him. He's not a go-to also, but he's a lot of fun, and I like his little personality. I like that they pulled from so many different Game & Watch games. I don't know, he's just such a deep cut Nintendo reference. He's fun, he's a guy. Meta Knight. Well, this isn't Brawl, so... Pit, I kind of forget he's in the game. I do like that he can fly. Basically Link, but with wings. Dark Pit, I don't forget he's in the game, because he's my sister's main, so I see him a lot. I wish he used his staff a bit more. I don't know, I like the edgy. Zero Suit Samus. is absolutely a secondary. She became a secondary pretty quickly. She's lighter than her armored versions. I like that she focuses more on guns as opposed to just like laser cannons. Don't like playing as Wario. This might be a cancelable take. I do not like Wario or Waluigi. Just in general, I don't like them as characters. I don't like characters that are just like the whole thing is like kind of gross. I think they could have been evil but incompetent and fun. I think they could have done that a bit more, but they just leaned so heavy into like them just being like kind of physically repulsive that I'm just not into it. So yeah, because of that, I actually don't really like playing as him at all. If it was just the moveset, I'd probably put him in between Donkey Kong and Jigglypuff, but the fact that I'd have to look at him and hear his voice makes me put him towards the bottom. As hype as Snake was for like the culture, I do forget he's in the game a lot. Just I don't have a lot of attachment to him. But he is pretty fun to play as. I do actually like playing as him. He's a lot lighter than you would think looking at him. And so he's pretty fun to control. And he's got some fun personality. Ike is one of the heavier Fire Emblem characters. And honestly, actually might be, I'm going to put him around here. He's heavier, so I'm not a huge fan of that. But, you know, when I did actually put in some time to learn how to handle him a bit more, so I'm kind of more drawn to him over Marth and Roy in general. But yeah, he's a bit too heavy for me to play him consistently. Now I'm gonna do all the Pokemon individually and then put Trainer up there. Squirtle, I like water. I think he's cute. He's pretty quick. I don't know, put him up there. I'm very biased towards grass types in general, but Ivysaur is just not very fun, and he's not as strong as you'd want him to be. And then Charizard is obviously the strongest and the best. He's a little too heavy for me to put him up very high, but he's probably around there. So I guess I would put Pokemon Trainer right around here. Yeah, that makes sense. Diddy Kong, literally forget he's in the game all the goddamn time. Lucas is like Ness. He's pretty much the exact same as Ness, but I think I like him a little bit more. I don't know why. Sonic, he could have been a lot more. He could have been so much more. I don't forget he's in the game, but I wouldn't say he's fun as hell, so he could have been a lot more. I mean, I know he didn't have a lot more to do, but he's just kind of generic, which I know he doesn't have. It's difficult because Sonic doesn't have a lot of things to do in his game that they could pull from, but it still feels too generic. I don't know. And they nerfed the hell out of Super Sonic, so King DDD, a heavy, I don't like playing as. He's at least a bit more interesting than Donkey Kong. Olimar, we've got really no connection to him. Lucario, I like playing as him. I like the aura. I like, actually, around here. Rob is not that fun for me, I gotta say. I think he's just a robot with lasers, which, from my understanding of the Rob toy, that's not what he was. I don't know. Rob is, again, a weird deep cut reference, but I feel like they also didn't really know what to do for him, so they just gave him generic robot moves. Toon Link is aesthetically more interesting than Young Link, but he's also just the same thing. Wolf, I don't really feel anything towards the Spaceys. I like the edgy guy. I like the edgy wolf man. Fuck, I hate myself. Villager, I don't think he's very fun. They did really well at making a move set from a character from a game that doesn't involve any sort of combat at all, but it just doesn't interest me personally. Mega Man, literally forget he's in the game all the time. Maybe it's just because I don't really care about the Mega Man games, but I just feel nothing. Wii Fit Trainer is way more fun than she has any right to be. She's like lightweight and floaty, and she's funny and got personality, and I don't know, she's just kind of fun to play as. Actually, you know what? I actually do get pretty hyped when I get her in randoms. Rosalina was my main in Smash 4. She obviously got nerfed a bit since then, so I haven't been playing her as much. But, you know, she's still up there. She's still good. Finally, we're getting to Sakurai's biggest mistake. I hate Lil Mac. I fucking hate Lil Mac. And I don't even have any sort of connection to his games at all. So this isn't biased. I think he's way too fast, so you fall off platforms easily. And by the time you realize you've fallen off the platforms, you can't recover. His recovery sucks. His KO mechanic, it just feels like it's not reliable. He's just so weak. You can't really, seriously, the second you're in the air, you're fucking dead. You can't do anything. You have to do all your fighting on the ground, and you better hope you don't accidentally walk off the stage, because then you're dead. And he just punches, which I know he's a boxer, that's all he can really do, and that would be like complaining that Fire Emblem characters just use swords, but I just don't find, I find sword fighting at least more visually interesting than just punching. I just don't like him. I don't like him. He should have stayed as an assist trophy in Brawl, where he belonged. Kind of fucked up that his tongue is the scarf, huh? The Mii's are the most generic fighters you could possibly have, and I forget that they're there all the time because I don't care enough about them to like dedicate too much time to like making them detailed fighters or anything. Like I got a couple of the Mii costumes that only really have characters that I cared about, like Callie and Marie, who I was like, well, you should be in the game, but I guess you're just gonna be Mii fighters. But then the Mii fighters don't really have any movesets that are that inspired. Like yeah, it gave us a chance to play Sans and Undertale, but wouldn't it be more fun to just actually have Sans and Undertale? Anyway, I like Palutena a lot. Maybe not that much. But no, still not that much. I like her a lot. I really thought she'd be going in secondaries, but no, she's definitely more down here. I just like the way she looks. And she's pretty strong too. I don't fucking know. Hackman, I don't hate him. I actually think he's okay in the fun department, but not very consistently. He's still cool that he's here. Robin is easily one of the most fun Fire Emblem characters they put in there. It's actually interesting to me that Robin is the only Fire Emblem character who has the weapons breaking gimmick. I understand it's probably because they couldn't actually include a gimmick like that until Smash 4, but then you would think they would then edit the other Fire Emblem characters to have that gimmick, because in every Fire Emblem game except for Fates, which Corrin is from, it's like Breath of the Wild. Your weapons only have so many uses before they break, and you have to either get them repaired or buy new ones. That mechanic makes it pretty interesting, so then you can't just rely on one spell for too long. It's very similar to Hero. I like that Robin uses magic and a sword. Shulk definitely got more fun the more I played with him. You know, in Smash 4, I hated that he was there. He was kind of annoying to me. But then I started to play as him a bit more, and I started to enjoy him, and then I got Xenoblade, and now I'm about 2 hours into the game. Bowser Jr., I love the little guy. He's not super fun, but I really like the little guy just as a character. Duck Hunt is easily the most forgettable character in the game. Duck Hunt, again, same with like Mega Man and like Snake and like all these characters I've said. Duck Hunt was such a deep cut reference, but also one that made so much sense to be in there. But I just forget that there's just a dog and a duck, and that the dog isn't killing the duck, they're teammates for some reason, and then you're committing animal rights violations against them. I just forget about it all the goddamn time. Also, wait a second, that's not the mural. That doesn't look like their mural. No, that's not their mural pic. All the other ones were their mural. That's just a screenshot from inside the game. They forgot to get the mural for Duck Hunt, and that's just a screenshot. What the fuck? Like, look, that's a screenshot, and that's them in the same pose, but you can tell it's like not sketchy, and it's a completely different background. What the fuck is going on? Ryu, I'm just gonna put them both in the same spot, Ryu and Ken. I don't find them very interesting. I mean, I'm not into traditional fighting games, but I just don't think they're very interesting. And I appreciate the fact that the fighting game characters, you still have to sort of know their inputs to play as them very well. I mean, you don't have to, you can still play as them fine, but if you want to get good at them, you have to do their inputs. I appreciate that as like a concept, but I don't appreciate the fact that that means that since I already don't care about them, I'm not going to learn how to play as them. Cloud is definitely one of my less preferred sorties. I think it's just because I don't have a huge attachment to Final Fantasy VII. That's gonna sound hypocritical in a minute, but you'll see. Corrin was actually one of the first Fire Emblem characters in this game that actually got me really interested in the game, because I was like, why is Corrin a dragon person? am of the class that says Fates is not as bad as people say it is, and Corrin is not as terrible as a character as people say they are. I think they're both fine. Fates is fine. Corrin is fine. I think they're both way overhated. Bayonetta became late game main in Smash 4, but then again, she got pretty nerfed, but she's also still pretty good. And got me into her games, and her games are sick as fuck. I can't wait to Bayonetta 3. Inkling is way better than Inkling has any right to be. They play exactly like you're playing Splatoon, which is great because I love Splatoon. Ridley, I get so hyped when I get Ridley in randoms. I don't play as him that often. Fuck, man. Like, that fulfills a carnal desire I didn't know I had, which was just to be a dragon pirate thing. The Belmonts, same kind of story to Street Fighter guys, where I don't dislike them, but I just don't find them very fun. King K. Rool, don't like playing as him. Another heavy I dislike. Isabelle is at least a bit more interesting than Villager. Where did I put Villager? Yeah, a bit more interesting. Probably up here, actually. I had a lot of fun with Kinsaro when the game first came out. He was pretty fun. I think he was surprising because I never played Sun and Moon, so I didn't know what his whole thing would be. And he was just the fire wrestling cat, and that was fun and stupid. Piranha Plant? I get so hyped for Piranha Plant. He's so stupid as an inclusion, but fuck. Piranha Plant's fun as shit. I'm looking at this. I'm gonna move Robin up to a main. I play as Robin a lot lately. I just kind of forget. Joker is big hype. I didn't know who Joker was when Joker got announced, so I was just like, why are they putting the Batman villain in Smash? But no, it's actually just a twink. Hero's fun. With Robin, all of their spells are just like mapped to certain directions, so it's pretty easy to understand. And then you run out, so you just have to go to a different one. The fact that hero spells are all randomized means you have to read, which means if you're not fast enough at reading, you're gonna get killed. Or if you don't know what a certain spell does, you might accidentally kill yourself. So I just don't down B very often. Banjo-Kazooie, I forget they're in the game. Yeah, I'm gonna put them next to Duck Hunt because it looks funny, but I just think they're kind of boring. Terry is very forgettable, but I also just don't like playing as him very much. It's just kind of the same thing as these guys, but I think he is aesthetically more interesting. Byleth became a main real quick for me. Byleth, Robin, and Chrom are all easily the most unique Fire Emblem characters in the game. So the people who bitch and moan about Fire Emblem characters all being the same clearly haven't tried them, because they all use different weapons and have different gimmicks that make them at least, more than just swordies. I really like that. I like playing as the Edelgard skin because then I can pretend Edelgard's in the game. Min Min, forget she's in the game all the time. She's fine to play as. She does feel like you're playing ARMS. Too bad I don't care about ARMS. Minecraft Steve is big random type. I was not expecting to enjoy playing as him as much as I do, but he is stupid fun. The crafting mechanic works perfectly, I think. I was not expecting Minecraft Steve to be this good, but he's great. Sephiroth is definitely around here. He's one I want to get better at, but I just haven't yet. I know I said I don't really care about Cloud. Maybe, again, it's kind of my edgy bias, and my bias towards One Winged Angel is like a fucking phenomenal song. Pyra could be a secondary. Mithra, if they were separate, Pyra and Mithra they'd be the same. So, right around here. Maybe down here. Kazuya, I just don't play as very often. Again, same with all these guys. And then Sora. Sora's not a go-to, but it's pretty fun. I don't really care about Kingdom Hearts, but I do think he's pretty interesting as a fighter, so I'll probably put him around here. He's at least very interesting. So yeah, there is my tier list just based off my personal play preferences. Obviously, I am very biased towards games that I have played, and I'm biased towards cute girls and and swordies. Honestly, there aren't any characters that are cut. I think they all either make sense to be on the roster or they bring something interesting to the table. Good job, Sakurai, again. I know it's been a year since the last Smash Direct, but it's been good. Let me know what characters you play, which characters you hate. If your opinions differ from mine, take that to your grave.